все время забываю, что меня звук нет. Как нормальный человек, если я останавливаюсь.
I'm just a curious person, period.
Where do we start?
Nothing scarier than a blank piece of paper.
I'm terrified, but let's do some more.
Will you teach me how to draw a rabbit?
I'm not a perfectionist.
Oh, ho, ho.
Woohoo!
I love this sign.
Man, the lighting's perfect for it.
This came out better than I would have.
Explore your creativity at Skillshare.
Please begin the third piece again. Okay, thank you. Now, you live in Vienna, so you have seen a coach with horses in Vienna. Now it's a touristy attraction. But in Schubert's time, this was the normal form of transportation. And he must have seen this all the time in front of his house. And I really hear the horses here. Also, if you go to Grinzing or one of these, on the little towns around Vienna where you have taverns and where they have wine and food, and this is where Schubert liked to sit with his friends. Then you have little music bands, and if somebody plays the viola there, or if you hear a gypsy band, then there's this viola player, he always playing cha, 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 cha. So whatever you play on the up bow, cha, cha, little later, but it's of course a little more sinister. But let's get this movement. It's much too loud, you know. I am not hard of hearing. I have good ears. Please. There's no movement, you know. Yeah. Okay, now let's get the tune. There's just a little more inflection. Again, you have to separate the melody from the accompaniment. I mean, this is not a Bachian piece where every voice is equal. Here is definitely melody, accompaniment, and harmony. And the accompaniment is short.
Разговариваешь сам с собой, как будто. Сам себя пожалуйста. Молодец, надорвался. Люди меня брезгуют, да? Серьезно? Не знаю, серьезно. Просто я уже
Google реклама была создана для Михаила. Он владелец автосервиса, а еще автослесарь. И художник. И мойщик. И только рекламой за него занимается Google. Google реклама анализирует эффективность компаний, чтобы постоянно совершенствовать их и помогать вашему бизнесу находить новых клиентов. Поиск новых клиентов доверьте Google рекламе.
Participants on the program typically have not taken a management degree as their first degree, so they might have a background, for example, in law and engineering, and they want to take a 4-mark course in management, or they might have studied management before, but they feel that they need to upgrade their skills to be up to date with current issues in management. So, for example, how to deal with sustainability in organizations, how to manage digitalization, and so they take a Global Executive MBA to make sure that they are update and they know the most relevant skills for the current business world. The Global Executive MBA will equip participants so that they can become impactful leaders that are able to drive change in their organizations, that are able to transform their organizations so that they can create value for their shareholders as well as for society at large. One very unique aspect of our Global Executive MBA are the 2 international learning experiences. The first one in New York City in the United States focuses on fintech. So participants learn about how digitalization is changing the world of finance, and learn about also by meeting relevant stakeholders from the finance industry, learn about new applications that digital allow us to develop to create new financial solutions. The second international learning experience is in Accra, Ghana. And in these international learning experiences, participants learn about the role of entrepreneurship in emerging markets.
Die Faust bilden, das Handgelenk stabil halten, das Handgelenk weder nach oben, nach unten oder seitlich knicken und dann das Armgewicht frei fallen lassen.
I'm just a curious person, period.
Where do we start?
Nothing scarier than a blank piece of paper.
Ball 1 to 7, left hand. These tend to lead you play rather mechanically, as you
Сможешь вытянуть статик уже будет. Я тупой, поэтому я так раздумал, я понял. Ну ладно, не тупой, просто. Зачем дело стало? Семья это что? Осеменение женщин, правильно? Сожительство это не обязательно. Вот это сожительство с кем-то. Вот это современное понятие семьи, да? Чтобы было легче жить или чтобы интереснее, чтобы веселее было? Я понял. То есть два гомика живут вместе, и как бы один Да, репу чешет, умывается или что там, все что такое. Да, я понял. Да. То есть, как, ну, нет. То есть, как бы, ладно, это сожительство, скажем так, да. Да. Брачная ложа. Не, ну что такое семья? Должно быть продолжение какое-то. У них продолжения не будет. У сыновьят кого-то это не продолжение. Он это имеет в виду. А мне бы вырастет кого-нибудь. Да. Ну нет, вот нет, понятно. Очень интересно. Да. Как это разрешено? Вот что знаю, непонятно. Слишком, конечно. Пока такого нет. Неизвестно, будет ли потом. Ну, может быть, наверное, да. Когда научишься из мужчин яйцеклетки добывать. А, делайте. Ты даешь просто вообще. Да. Дело хозяйственное. Да. Вы думали, что семью все будет просто. Как бы оно вот так вот остается, все равно такое, да. Ну ладно, понял. Пожалуйста, попробуй. Делать ты что будешь всю жизнь? А, ну да, будет еще номер. Как проще всего? Проще всего, да.
I wanted to show another example of the use of single rotation in all the music that we play. Chopin Etude, Opus 25, number 11, at the start. It's all like a trill. I showed trills, I showed the dirty bass, how it's left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And when we do that, we get rid of the tension that finger alone bring. So here, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Now, for the right, left to be effective, the finger and the forearm have to move together as a unit without any tension, just no breaks in either way. And that's when you see that the forearm, as I do that, the forearm is moving behind the moving fingers as I go down. Everything is moving together. Along with that, rotation never acts alone. There are always ins and outs, there are always shapes, the lateral shifts. So here, we get a little bit higher and lower. Notice how my forearm, together with the rotation, is also adjusting to the fact that there's a black key in front and a longer finger, and gets a little bit, the forearm is moving over to be right over it. If it's just only sideways, it doesn't feel like it gets there. The sideways is to get a sideways, but then we have long and short fingers, we have black and white keys, so there are other adjustments. And I want you to see how make it a little bit bigger. See how it breaks? Comes a little bit out here to the 5. So we have a shape here every 4 fingers. Notice how my torso shifts to make room for the moving playing apparatus. A little smaller. And of course you notice that with all the talk about the form, that you see fingers moving. All these movements that take away the strain from the fingers having to reach sideways and to curl and to pull in, makes it possible for them to really move freely, and they need to move freely to create the right balance of work between the finger and the forearm. So they're not dead, they are moving, but together they're moving in a different way. Another example of single rotations in music is the Opus 10, number 5, Chopin Etude. Here, left, right, left, right, left, right. Watch all the way to here. Notice when I do that, how my hands and fingers don't have to open. They never are in a position that is stretchy. The motions across are taken by the forearm. And it's not enough to think they're taken by the forearm, but they're taken by the most efficient motion the forearm can offer, which is the turning. Now smaller. And you notice, of course, the little ins and outs movements, even just in the black key area, and little shapes. It's very, very small, but it's all there. Otherwise, movement is not easy. So, and only to the degree that still keeps everything together. A frequently asked question is how to comfortably play the first few lines of Beethoven's Sonata Opus 27, number 2. Most people find that they get so tired there that it's difficult to continue playing the rest of the movement. So let's see what are some of the elements involved. First of all, it starts very low in the bass area, so the body needs to move over. Now often it moves over and begins to feel like it's falling off. So as you move to the left, at some point it goes a little bit forward so that you can feel you're right there and your arm has room to be in the place where it's meant to be, which is not over here, here, but really where it has to start playing. If you play the first 4 notes as a chord, it gives you a sense of where the forearm needs to be, and it's practically, it's almost where the belly button is. Now, the first question is, most people play it and the hand is already open, it's already stretched. And already there is tension and it's very hard to play the rest of it. So we have 2 possibilities. Either we stretch with our fingers, as often we do, or we realize that the arm has a roll in it to help bring the fingers across so that they don't have to stretch and they don't have to pull. And again, it always goes back to the issue, which arm, how do we move? The upper arm, we have to take out of it, because if we really initiate and move from the upper arm, it tires very quickly, and that of course affects the playing. If the forearm just moves, often it feels like too much movement. So it's a combination of the rotation which brings the forearm, walks it over in minimal amounts from finger to finger, like this. This is big movements, and it's something that we train people and show where is the single rotation, where is the double rotation, because if we just rotate the forearm over, we are tilting, so we don't really get over to the notes and feel that each forearm is behind each finger, and clearly as the rotational movement and the walking hand and arm move, the upper arm follows. We are tilting, so we don't really get over to the notes and feel that each forearm is behind each finger, and clearly as the rotational movement and the walking hand and arm move, the upper arm follows. But in those cases it follows in very minimal amounts, so there is no sense of any fatigue or too much arm moving. Nothing can stay frozen. We are, the body is connected. But there are parts that lead, and these are the parts, the finger, hand, and the forearm. Now, the other thing that you will see that as I'm rotating and moving, that I'm not moving very far over. And the reason for that is that after the 5, I have to play the thumb. And in the whole art of technique, understanding the position, understanding the movements, is how to move in minimal amounts so that we can feel like we're barely moving, and we are moving, but we're moving very, very little, and that makes it possible also to move quickly. So I'm moving just over, that's enough. Now I'm making this point because there's also a shaping, a little bit, getting a little bit higher, getting a little lower, those curved lines. They also have to be done from the forearm, not from the wrist or the upper arm. But most people, when they go up, do this. Now notice that if I do the under shape, which often is the case, they're very often under shapes and over shapes, but in this case, If I move over this way, I get too far, and then I have a big movement back to the thumb. So instead of going what we call under and over shape, it's actually one over shape that turns back like this. See, I'm getting a little bit higher to the 2 to the 3, and a little bit lower to the 5 and to the 1. So I'm moving, I have the rotation, I have small walking hand and arm, and the shaping completes it and brings me right back to where I need to be. Very small. I'm not doing it bigger because bigger already feels wrong. It feels like you're hovering off the keys. So everything has to be in the amount that is not too low, not too high. So you always feel that you connect it and the forearm is right over the finger. Another thing that is of the utmost importance is that in places like this, especially when we get to the white key, people play like that, people play it out. When we play it here and then have to go to the thumb on a black key, we create what is called twisting, which creates a lot of problems. When the arm is going this way or going that way, it's a break in the alignment, it's going to the extreme range of motion, and the wrist can experience a lot. Have to go to the thumb on a black key, we create what is called twisting, which creates a lot of problems. When the arm is going this way or going that way, it's a break in the alignment, it's going to the extreme range of motion, and the wrist can experience a lot of pain, and also ganglia come from it, and the wrist can experience a lot of pain, and also ganglia come from it on the sides of the wrist. So if you notice, I'm moving as a unit, I'm playing inside, since my thumb and fifth finger is a unit on the sides of the wrist. So if you notice, I'm moving as a unit, I'm playing inside, since my thumb and fifth finger on the black keys, the second and the third finger being longer needs to be in front of them, not moving out and moving in. That's a lot of movement to go fast and can be very fatiguing and tiring to the upper arm and to the shoulder. So barely any movement. Now I move a tiny bit out to here because the thumb is going to play on a white key, but a white key very close to the black key. Why? Because I'm going right back to the thumb playing on the black key. And notice that my fifth finger is right across from where the thumb will have to play. If you took it together, you'll see that's where the fifth has to be. But most of the time, we're unaccustomed to play the fifth or other fingers in the black key area, and when it's necessary, it should feel as good as when it plays in the white key area. And it stays inside and stays inside, but comes a tiny bit out to give the thumb a comfortable place to play, and goes right back, so it's small. Now if I didn't tell you about it, you wouldn't even know that I'm moving a little bit in and out. That's the art of this movement. Where do we move? How much do we move? Another point that is very, very important to not stretching, that as we move with the forearm, that we release, especially the thumb, when it's finished playing, that it doesn't stay like this. If we move the arm and the thumb stays where it was, because we're very used to positions, to have everything ready like this, we're still going to be tight and feel stretched in spite of moving with the forearm. So if you notice what I'm doing, when I'm finished, it's like walking. You take a step and the foot that is finished is joining you, like this. Was because we're very used to positions, to have everything ready like this, we're still going to be tight and feel stretched in spite of moving with the forearm. So if you notice what I'm doing, when I'm finished, it's like walking. You take a step and the foot that is finished is joining you, like this. So that's the other thing that is happening here, and very, very important to keep in mind. Some other points of interest here is that when we get to the top, we have a chord, and then we have a chord that has to get us down to here. So notice first of all that as I move, I start over here. As I move up, my torso follows in small amounts so that we are always connected. And then when I get to the chord, it sends this, the playing apparatus plus the upper arm and the torso. And with the rotational movements, it's very, very quick. If you jump, if you leap without it, you'll still get there, but it's much bigger movement and more fatiguing and slower. This movement is not as fast as this movement, and this rotational movement brings the forearm over, but quickly and with, in smaller amount. So that's another thing to keep in mind, that we have here not just arpeggiated section, but also a leap. Another thing that is of great help is what we call grouping. You have 4 notes going up, then coming down, then going up, then coming down, then going up. And this kind of thing can be very confusing to the hand. Grouping organizes it. So one of the aspects of this organization is that when we have several notes going in the same direction, we think this group, the 4 notes, we have already the movements built in to come back to the thumb. We get there and we start the next 4 notes. Try it. Just that in itself can be very, very helpful, just to organizing it to the feeling 4 notes, 4 notes, 4 notes, 4 notes. And that is done on top of everything else that you're doing, the rotation, walking hand and arm, shaping. And also remembering that you're starting the grouping on the second note, the second 16th note, but you still have to emphasize a little bit the beat. So the beat is always, the rhythmic structure is crucial, but the grouping often doesn't go according to the rhythmic structure. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Another interesting point is that the left hand starts with 1 note and then the right hand comes in, and it helps a lot to create what we call the interdependence of the hands, that the first note instigates. Very often people do the first note and the second note, and it's not very even. The piece musically, it doesn't sound the agitato and the presto and the excitement of this line. That every time when it starts, it should do this one brings that one.
человеческой фазы, да. Так ужасно. День прошел 4 часа.
Let's talk about ways of spicing up your piano accompaniment. Let's take a very simple chord progression, which is a C major to an F major. So C major in the root form is just C, E, and G, and an F major in the root form is just F, A, and C. In the first run, what you might do is play an alternating form, such as this one. C, F, now let's talk about some ways to spice this up. The first trick is I'm going to use something called a grace note. And a grace note is just a note or a set of notes that quickly precedes the note that you're about to play. And in the context of the accompaniment and the chords, let me show you two variations, a slow and a fast one, for this alternating form. So the slow one is this. What I'm doing here is I'm starting out from a D and a G, and then playing the E and resuming the normal alternating form. D, E, notice that my fifth finger, the pinky, keeps the G pressed. The same thing can be applied to the F. For the F, it's I hit the G and the C, and then I play the A. Now for the faster variation, and here I am going to play the exact same thing, but my transition from the DG to the EG will be a lot faster, and it will sound like this. So here's the slow variation, followed by the fast one. Slow, fast,